Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar tonight. And I'm Liana Allison, and I'm the Empathic Leadership Coach here at the Institute of Empathic Leadership. And it's a great pleasure to be with you tonight. And tonight, the topic that we're covering is how to be an inspirational female leader. It's a huge topic, so I'm going to cut it down into some very succinct points, and I'd love to have your input as we go through it. So if you'll see down the bottom, you've got a chat icon, and you can pop any questions, any comments, any responses to my questions into that chat box. The more interactive you are, hi Liz, great to have you on board. The more interactive you are, the better this will be, because I work so much better when people are actually really asking questions and making comments. So you'll get a lot more out of it. So first of all, let's open the space with just a quick exercise. And what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes and taking a nice deep breath in. We will just connect with ourselves and release our day so that we can be fully present, so that you can get the most out of what I have to offer tonight. So taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, into the belly, and out through the nose. And we're just 3 of those breaths. In and out. And as you breathe, you just start to gradually take notice of your body. And as you continue this gentle breathing, you allow your body to start to relax. You soften your shoulders and your neck. You feel your feet on the ground. You feel that connection with the earth, the nurturing and supportive earth. And in doing that, as you breathe, you also feel the connection to your higher self through the top of your head. The directive of who we are and how we live this life. And as you start to relax, you just allow yourself to let go of your daily activities, all the to-do lists. You allow your mind to just relax. Yes, there will be thoughts. That's okay. Just let them flow. We don't need to attach anything to them. And connecting in with the energy of this webinar and the people that are participating. Feeling the circle that is the woman's circle, and allowing yourself to be fully present to that. And finally, just taking a nice deep breath in with an open mind and heart, feeling your presence here in this time and space. And one more breath. And when you're ready, just gently wriggling your fingers and toes, opening your eyes, and coming fully into the presence of this opportunity that you have tonight to learn a little bit, to share a little bit of what you know. So please do share. Excellent. So remember, using the chat box. So I'd like to know where we're all from. Would you like to just pop in the chat box where you're situated, whether it's the state or the town? I'm actually down in McLaren Vale at the moment. Michaela, yes, beautiful. And Bundaberg, fantastic. So it's a lot of kilometres between the two. And anyone else want to share where they are from? So I'm, as I said, down at McLaren Vale, Toowoomba. Hi, Jody. Sarah, it says that, I think that says Bundaberg. Yes, fantastic. And I'm with my brother and sister-in-law at the moment down here, and I have to say it's quite cold. and having been in Queensland for the last few years, looking forward to getting back to it next week where it's a bit warmer. Okay, so let's get started. How to be an inspiring female leader. There's many thoughts on how this happens, and what I'd like to know from you is, who would you call an inspiring female leader? So if you want to pop that into the chat box and just have a think about who they are and what their characteristics are. I know the New Zealand Prime Minister is actually a great example, and her name escapes me at the moment, but she is a really great example of an empowered woman in leadership. And one of the Wonder Woman, yes, definitely Wonder Woman. She's she always had that the power, but she was always very compassionate and caring, and she was ready to show her emotions and share them. So that was perfect. Meghan Markle. Don't know that one. I'm going to have to Google that one, Elizabeth, but I reckon. Ah, of course, Prince Harry. Yes, she's cool. I do like her, Meghan. Yeah. See, I'm absolutely terrible with names, great with faces. So thank you for the reminder, Liz, for that. Okay, so some of the characteristics of a, which I've just discussed with an empowered female leader. And a lot of the times when we, in the past, we've looked at leadership, and it's been around how people are in charge. You know, they're in control. They're the one that can fix everything. They're the ones that can think really logically and don't get too emotional. Now that has got the world to a certain place, and now it's time to actually start balancing it out a bit with some more deeper, meaningful leadership style. So what does that look like? One of the things with leadership is the ability to be really authentic, to be really real in who you are in every aspect, and to be empowered in that. And it's in that empowerment that we are allowing ourselves to be really, truly authentic. Because we're not authentic because generally we want to cover up what we see as our failings. And quite often those failings can be around our emotions, can't they? It's like, okay, I can't be too emotional. I can't show any weakness. And that in itself is debilitating, especially for women. We have an emotional nature. That's our gift, and that's our superpower. So we should learn to actually integrate it and use it and be comfortable with that. So one of the things about being a true empowered leader and being inspiring to others is that we have to have a sense of vulnerability. And if we're authentic and vulnerable, we have to have self-trust. Now, to have self-trust, we have to know ourselves. We have to accept ourselves. And we move from the old parameters of doing. Leadership was a doing thing, to a doing and being. And the being part is the part that we're talking about tonight. So, another characteristic that we all need is about strong communication. Again, it comes from being authentic and empowered. So if we are those things, then our communication style becomes a lot more real, and it has a lot more of our own energy in it. Not from our heads, but from our hearts. So it's about combining the head and the heart so that we are fully using all of our tools, all of us. So remember, any questions, please pop them in the chat box. So what else have we got here in that list? So empathy and emotional mastery are actually, or emotional intelligence, same thing, are becoming really valued business currency. And I've seen quite a few different webinars and things where it's been talked about as a valuable aspect of who we are. So it's that having empathy for others, to be able to connect with others and understand not only what they're feeling, but what they're thinking and where it's coming from, and to have acceptance of that and the understanding of who they are. And the only way we can do that is to have our own acceptance of ourselves and understanding of where our voice comes from. So what are our patterns that are holding us in that small box that we perceive to be who we are? The masks that we put on to protect ourselves in our leadership roles. So can you imagine what it would be like if all leaders actually dropped all their masks? Better still, became aware that they were actually using masks. Now, once we do that, that's a game changer. Yes, Michaela, it's focus on yourself first and lead by example. Absolutely. And, you know, it's like anything. If we want something to change in life, or if we want to be happier in life, we can't change the external and expect our internal way of being to be different. We have to change what we see as our internal way of being, who we truly are from our heart out. Okay, so moving on from that, what I wanted to really share with you is how we lose ourselves. And this is what we've done over the years, over the generations, is we've started to lose who we are. We've started to sacrifice ourselves and to make the external people or world far more important than our own needs and wants, our own expression of ourselves. And that straight away disempowers us. We become victims to circumstances, and we start acting in that way. Now, just recently, I've been in a situation where my relationship has ended, and I've been through the peaks and troughs of the emotional expression of that whole experience. Now, one of the things that is really important in all of this is when we're at the peak of, you know, feeling really good, we understand ourselves, we're expressing ourselves, that's fantastic. And we all want to stay up there, because up there we feel great. We can be great leaders up there. But we don't realize that it's the trough where we fall down into a pile. And I've done this myself just in the last few days. We fall down into that place where we feel everything so deeply, and we feel like we can't do anything to get out of it. And it's in that place that we actually find our true power, because it's in there that we find out who we really are. What are the patterns that are dragging us into this quagmire and keeping us there? So self-empowered is the understanding of yourself. And not only that, self-empowered women take self-responsibility for the things they were not running cleanly or in an empowered way. So when I hit that trough and I was really messy, I was shoving my head in the sand and I was hiding from the reality, and I was blaming my ex-partner for how I was feeling. Now, luckily, I didn't stay there too long, because I realized I was being a victim, and I was disempowering myself by handing all of the power over to him in regards to how I was feeling. So to step up from that, to find the gold in it and see what my patterns were. And my pattern is, in relationship, I stick my head in the sand and pretend everything's okay. Well, obviously it didn't get me very far. So what we can do when we're in that trough is to do the self-examination, to understand what we are doing, where it's coming from, and what are the actions to actually step up from that. And what I did in that situation was I realized I was victimizing myself. I got angry, not at him, because there's no blame for the other person or the situation. I got angry at myself for my lack of awareness. And in that anger, I used it to start taking some actions, which included self-care. I went for a walk, had a sauna, made sure I was eating correctly, put my head down and actually did some proper work which needed to be done, because that's hanging over my head as well, and actually took the steps to climb the steps back up to that peak. Because when you go down, it's a quick slide down, but to get back up, you look for the steps that will take you back up to the top. And you can bet your bottom dollar you get to the top, something will happen and you'll slide into another trough. And thank goodness that we do, because it's in those troughs that we grow. This is the journey of empowerment. This is a journey for true leaders to willingly do, to see the peaks for what they are, to see the troughs for what they are and how much they have to offer. My pleasure, Michaela. It's a pleasure to share my story, and I hope it's just an inspiration, because you know it's in our vulnerability that we become leaders. It's in our vulnerability of actually sharing what's really, really going on. Jody, authenticity in action. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. So, you know, it's how we do this, and it's remembering that when we are messy, that's not a bad thing. It's where we will grow the most. And if we want to be those empowered leaders, if we want to really step up and make change, we have to live that change. We have to portray it in a way that is very real, with honesty, integrity, to be vulnerable, yet empowered. A lot of people think vulnerability is actually crying in the corner or showing your emotions and that's it, but it's not. It's actually being okay with everything that you are and showing that. And what that does is it actually gives you a level of joy, acceptance and trust in life and in yourself that you can't get by staying up at the peak. Up here, it's always teetering, you know, that when you're right up on top of the cliff, it's like, oh, it's a bit vulnerable up there. Yes, relatability. Well, everybody has stuff, don't they? And we learn from our emotions, the positive and the negative. Absolutely, Liz. So when we're right up the top, it can feel like we're standing on a little bit of a high wire. And when we tilt a bit, we get a little bit panicky. Oh no, we're going to fall to the bottom. We don't realize the bottom actually has this beautiful cushion that we will land on so that we can self-examine and learn about ourselves in a far deeper way. So this is the pathway to self-awareness, and leadership is always about self-awareness. Now, one of the things, like Michaela suggested, Wonder Woman, she was always curious, wasn't she? She always wanted to know what was going on in the world. She wanted to understand. She wanted to understand not only the world and other people, she wanted to understand herself. And she didn't put any restriction on or judgment on what she found out about herself. She accepted, she learned, and she grew from it. So if we can aspire to be doing those things, then we're on the path to actually really being the true leaders that we're destined to be. And let's face it, the world needs more female leaders because we need the balance. We need to actually lead the way. We need to show men that we're willing to stand side by side as empowered beings, not up and down and, you know, trying to make it work. And that's the same in all relationships. If we stand side by side as empowered beings, we can come together and go apart and come together and move apart in a way that is sustainable. Now, when I say move apart, we do individual things. Somebody suggested the analogy of a catamaran yacht with the two hulls, with the flexible bit in the middle. Well, that's what a true relationship is, whether it's a personal relationship, whether it's a work relationship. And that way we can actually still be our individual selves, fully accepting of who we are, fully accepting of who the other person is, finding the middle ground when we need to come together, and not sacrificing on either side. No one needs to sacrifice anything. But if you're empowered, you don't need someone to be smaller than you or bigger than you. You just need them to be present and empowered and an individual. So that's what the aim is for us, to be an individual, to be authentic, to be the best that we can be. Now, remember, if you hit that trough, and we all done it. When I hit that trough in the last few weeks, I've asked for help. I've got somebody that I call on all the time to support me to find those steps to get out. So if you need somebody to help you to get out of those troughs, then I can help you with that. Now, I want to run you through a quick meditation. And with my meditations, I just channel them. So I have no idea what they're going to be until I actually do it. So please sit and relax, close your eyes, and let's actually do this meditation process. And if you're listening to this, you can obviously, it's recorded, so you will get this to listen to again as you wish. So taking a deep breath in and closing your eyes, and another breath, and one more deep breath in. And as you do so, you feel yourself sinking into whatever you're sitting on and allowing yourself to feel really, really connected into the earth, really solid and grounded and fully present in your body. As you continue this gentle breathing, you feel yourself, you feel your limbs, you feel your torso, you feel your hips and your legs, you feel your feet. You feel your shoulders starting to drop, your neck relax, and your brain is just ticking along. And as you breathe in, you become aware of this deep inner sense of who you are. Breathing into your heart, you feel this deep connection, this inner voice, this inner woman that is just waiting to be shown to the world, just waiting to express herself authentically. And as you connect in with her in your heart, you allow your heart and your head to connect. And you feel that energy combining together, the doing and the being. swirling around like a current in the river, looking for the direction that it needs to be fully in flow, to be fully in its power, like the force of the water, meshing with the form of the earth, finding its true path, its true expression, and its true self. And as you feel this sensation, this force, this surge within you, you feel the elation, you feel the vulnerability, you feel the courage, and you feel the fear. You feel the expansiveness. And you just are curious and allowing in this energy that is a major part of who you are. And you allow yourself to just sit with it. You don't have to do anything. Not right now. Just accept. Really just being present to that energy, getting to know it. Because this is getting to know yourself. And as it expands and fires up, because there's water and there's fire. And in that space, we have both. And maybe you feel the joy bubbling up. Maybe you feel the nervousness. That's okay. Change can feel uncomfortable. But without change, we are nothing. We are stagnant. We are still. And that's not who we're meant to be. So it's okay to be nervous. Remember, it's one step at a time to climb up out of that trough, to see what's over the other side of the peak, and to find joy in the downward slide into the next trough, knowing that you will become more self-aware and more empowered in that journey. And now just taking a nice deep breath in. Coming back to awareness while still feeling that beautiful feeling inside, and allowing yourself to hold it in your heart as a reminder of who you are and what you're meant to be. One final breath in and out. Beautiful. Just opening your eyes. And just shrugging it off. There we go. So remember, an empowered person is a real person, not a fake person. And now, if you've got any questions or any comments, I would love for you to share them in the chat box. One of the things I wanted to share just to finish off, an empowered woman will and is willing to receive nurture and support from men because they deserve it. Now, how many women sacrifice themselves or feel not good enough or just not prepared to show up. Thanks, Michaela. Really appreciate that. So remember, an empowered woman stands side by side with an empowered man or an empowered person. It doesn't have to be in a personal relationship. So I would love any feedback that you may have. And remember, you will get this recording in an email tomorrow for those of you that are live. And for those of you that are listening to this recording, I hope you enjoy it. Any feedback you have would be wonderful. And I'm glad you liked the meditation, Michaela. And so, Vanda, you can watch the whole thing, but you'll definitely get the recording. I think you'll really, really get a lot out of it. So enjoy your evening for those of you that are on here live. And thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. And I'll hope to see you. Remember, next month I will be back again, and you will all be invited to the event, obviously on Facebook. So I look forward to sharing some more with you. Thank you all. Appreciate your time. I know how valuable it is. So bye for now.